My wife had been managing our retirement accounts for years. I trusted her completely. 12 years of marriage, 2 kids, 1 mortgage, and I handed her the login like it was nothing. Then one night I logged in myself for the first time in 4 years and found that $112,000 had moved to an account I had never seen. 26 separate transfers, going back 4 years. She was watching TV in the next room. When I found it, I didn't say a word. I closed the laptop, walked to the garage, and called my brother. He picked up on the second ring. By the time I went back inside, the first moves were already in motion. She had no idea. Let me tell you who I was before all of this. Not to make you feel sorry for me. I don't need that. Just so you understand exactly what was at stake. My name is Daniel. I'm 44 years old. I work in industrial procurement. I source materials for manufacturing facilities, negotiate contracts, manage supplier relationships. It's not glamorous. It doesn't make great dinner party conversation, but I'm good at it, and it pays well. When I was 26, I landed a contract manager position at a mid-sized firm in Ohio, salary of $58,000 a year. I drove a 2003 Honda Civic with a cracked dashboard and ate lunch at my desk every single day, so I could max out my 401k contribution from the very first paycheck. I didn't come from money. My dad was a machinist. My mom worked the front desk at a dental office. They were good people who worked hard and retired with almost nothing, and I watched that happen and decided it wasn't going to be my story. By the time I was 30, I had $47,000 in retirement savings. By 34, it was $119,000. Every dollar of it was mine, earned and allocated with intention. I met Renata when I was 31. She was a pediatric speech therapist, warm, organized, easy to be around. We dated for 2 years, got married at a park outside Columbus in September. 80 guests, no debt afterward because I'd saved for it. Our daughter was born 14 months later. Our son 2 years after that. We were, by any outside measure, a stable and functioning household. Renata was the kind of person who remembered every friend's birthday, who color-coded the kids' school calendar, who sent thank you notes on actual paper, and she was sharp about money in the way that made me trust her with it. She had her own 401k through her employer. We had a joint brokerage account we'd set up together, and we had the retirement IRA that I had started long before we met, the one I had built from the ground up, one paycheck at a time. About 8 years ago, Renata suggested she take over managing the household finances. I was traveling a lot for work, sometimes 2 or 3 trips a month, and things were slipping through. A late credit card payment here, a missed insurance premium there. She offered, and it made sense. She had the bandwidth. I didn't. So I gave her the login, and then I stopped looking. That's on me. I own that completely. But here's what I want you to understand about those 8 years. I worked. I came home. I coached my son's soccer team on Saturdays. I took Renata to her favorite restaurant every anniversary. I fixed what broke around the house, attended every school thing, never missed a parent-teacher conference. I was present. I thought we were fine. I was wrong. The night I found it was a Thursday in early February. I'd been on a work trip for 3 days, got home late, kids were already asleep. Renata was in the living room watching something on her laptop with headphones in. She waved at me when I came through the door. I heated up leftovers, sat at the kitchen table, and opened my own laptop to check a work email. I don't even know why I did what I did next. Some part of my brain just wandered. I navigated to the retirement account portal, typed in the email, typed in the password I remembered from years ago, and it still worked. The account loaded. I looked at the balance. It said $214,400. I held very still. I knew the balance should have been somewhere around $327,000. Based on the last time I'd checked, which was longer ago than I should admit, I told myself, market dip. I clicked on the transaction history, and there it was. 26 transfers, ranging from $2,800 to $7,400, over 4 years, all going to the same external account ending in 3847. I did not know that account number. I stared at the screen for probably 3 full minutes. The number added up to $112,600 gone. I closed the laptop very carefully, as if sudden movements might disturb something. Renata still had her headphones in. I stood up, said I was going to the garage to check on something with the car, and I walked out the side door. I stood in the cold in my coat and dress shoes, and I called my brother Kevin. Kevin is 3 years older than me. He's a financial crimes attorney in Cincinnati. He has, in his career, prosecuted people for doing exactly what I was looking at. He picked up on the second ring. I said, "I need you to listen to me and not react yet." He said, "Okay." I told him what I had just seen. He was quiet for about 4 seconds. Then he said, "Don't close the account. Don't log out. Don't say anything to her tonight. Take screenshots of everything you can see on that screen right now. Email them to yourself from a personal account she doesn't know about. Then go back inside and act normal. Can you do that?" I said yes. He said, "Good. I'll make some calls in the morning. We're going to be careful about this." I went back inside. I finished my dinner. I said goodnight to Renata. I went to bed. I stared at the ceiling until about 2 a.m. The next 3 weeks were the strangest of my life, because I was living 2 separate realities at the same time. In one of them, I was Daniel the husband, making coffee in the morning, helping with homework, watching TV on the couch with my wife. In the other one, I was building a case. Kevin moved fast. He connected me with a forensic accountant named Bridget, who specialized in marital asset tracing. Bridget was in her early 50s, precise, completely unflappable. On our first call, she asked me to describe everything I knew about the household finances for the past 4 years. I told her what I could. She said, "Your job for the next 2 weeks is to gather every document you can access without alerting your wife. Bank statements, brokerage statements, tax returns, credit card records, insurance policies, anything with a number on it. Photograph it or scan it and send it to me." I spent the next 10 days doing exactly that. Every document I could put my hands on. I photographed tax returns from the home filing cabinet while Renata was at the grocery store. I pulled statements from the joint account going back 3 years. I went through our credit card records and flagged every charge I didn't recognize. There were more than I expected. Recurring charges to apps and services I'd never heard of. A hotel stay in Pittsburgh that coincided with a weekend Renata had told me. She was visiting a college friend in Michigan. I sent everything to Bridget. She came back to me at the end of week 2. She said, "I've traced the account ending in 3847. It's a personal savings account opened in your wife's name only, at a regional bank you don't hold accounts at. The transfers began 4 years and 2 months ago. The current balance in that account is approximately $68,000. The remaining $44,000 has been spent." I asked her where. She said, "Rent payments, furniture, utilities, restaurant charges, consistently in the Pittsburgh area." She paused. "Do you have any family or friends in Pittsburgh?" I said no. She said, "Then we have a picture." I called Kevin that night. He said, "We need to get you in front of a divorce attorney before you do anything else. You have not confronted her. You have not moved any money. You have not told a single person." "That's exactly right. Don't change any of that yet." He referred me to a family law attorney named Patricia. 22 years of practice, known for high-conflict financial divorces. I met with Patricia the following Tuesday at 7 a.m. Before Renata was even awake. Patricia sat across from me at a conference table, with Bridget's preliminary report already in front of her. She read it without speaking for a few minutes. Then she looked up and said, "Mr. Hollis, your wife has been maintaining a second household for approximately 4 years. The financial picture here is clear. The question now is how we proceed." She walked me through my options. She explained that in Ohio, marital assets include retirement accounts accumulated during the marriage, which meant that what Renata had transferred out was not just a breach of trust, it was the unauthorized dissipation of a marital asset. She said, "We're going to file for divorce and simultaneously move to freeze any accounts she controls, pending full financial disclosure. The forensic report will be Exhibit A. She will not see this coming, and she will not have time to move anything else." I asked Patricia, "How long do we wait before we file?" She said, "We don't wait long, but before we file, I want you to do 3 things. Open a new individual checking account at a bank you've never used, redirect your direct deposit there, starting with your next pay cycle, and change the password on the retirement account, the one she's been accessing, so she can no longer make transfers. I did all 3 that week. Friday morning, I changed the retirement account password. Friday afternoon, my paycheck went to the new account. She didn't notice either. The following Monday, Patricia filed. Renata was served at her workplace, the pediatric clinic where she had worked for 9 years, on a Tuesday morning at 9:15 a.m. I was in a procurement meeting 2 states away when it happened. She called me 7 times between 9:15 and 9:45. I let every call go to voicemail. The first voicemail was shock. The second was anger. The third was crying. The fourth was a threat. The fifth was more crying. The sixth was, "Daniel, please, let's just talk about this." The seventh was silence. She didn't say anything, just breathed for 30 seconds, and hung up. I listened to all 7 in a row, sitting in a rental car in a parking garage in Detroit. Then I called Patricia and told her the contact had started. She said, "Good. Don't respond to any of it. Not a text, not an email, not in person. Every communication goes through me." Renata hired an attorney within the week. His name was Gerald. He called Patricia with what Kevin described as the opening move of someone who doesn't know what the other side has. Gerald's position was that the transfers were informal personal savings, money Renata had set aside from the joint household account for her own financial security, which she had every right to do as a co-equal marital partner. Patricia waited for him to finish. Then she said, calmly, "We have a forensic account trace, a full transfer history, and documentation of approximately $44,000 spent on a second residence and its associated expenses over 4 years. We also have a hotel stay record that does not align with travel your client reported to my client. We will be requesting full disclosure of the account ending in 3847 and all connected accounts at that institution, as well as your client's phone records for the past 4 years. If your client would like to pursue mediation, we are open to that. If not, we proceed to discovery." Gerald went quiet for a moment. Then he said he would speak with his client and call back. He called back the next morning. His client wanted to pursue mediation. The mediation was scheduled for 5 weeks later. In the meantime, Bridget completed her full forensic report. It was 61 pages. It traced every dollar, every transfer out of the retirement account, every dollar spent from the hidden savings account, rent payments to an apartment in Pittsburgh's Lawrenceville neighborhood, a name on the lease that was not mine, utilities in Renata's name at that address, 2 sets of airline charges that I now understood, and a timeline that went back to a conference Renata had attended in Pittsburgh 4 years and 5 months ago. She had met someone there. The apartment was for him. She had been funding it with my retirement savings for 4 years. I read the full report at Kevin's kitchen table on a Sunday afternoon. He sat with me while I did. Neither of us said much. When I put it down, he said, "You doing okay?" I said, "I will be," and I meant it. Not because I wasn't angry. I was angry in a way that was very quiet and very cold and very specific. But I knew what I had, and I knew she was out of moves. The mediation was held in a conference room on the 14th floor of a building downtown. Renata came in with Gerald. She looked like she hadn't slept in weeks, which was probably accurate. She didn't look at me when she sat down. I looked at her the whole time. I wasn't doing it to be cruel. I just wanted to remember it clearly. The mediator introduced herself, explained the process, and invited Patricia to open. Patricia set Bridget's 61-page report on the table. Then she slid a copy across to Gerald. Then she waited. Gerald opened it. He read the first 3 pages. He looked at Renata. Renata looked at the table. Gerald asked for a break after 7 minutes. They were gone for 40 minutes. When they came back, Gerald said his client was prepared to discuss settlement terms. Over the next 2 hours, here is what Renata agreed to. Full repayment of the $112,600 from her own retirement account and assets. No contest on the marital home, which was awarded to me with an offsetting adjustment in the final asset division. The kids' custody split was negotiated separately and settled reasonably. I won't go into the details because my kids are not part of this story in any way that's for public consumption. What I will say is that Patricia did her job and the outcome was fair. When we walked out of that that building. It was raining lightly. Patricia shook my hand and said, "Clean result." I said, "Yes," and that was it. That was 18 months ago. Here is where I am now. The retirement account has been fully restored. Actually, it's ahead of where it would have been, because the settlement agreement required Renata to repay the full $112,600, plus 4 years of estimated investment returns on those funds, calculated by Bridget at a conservative market rate. The final number she paid back was $141,000. My account balance today is $387,000. I'm 44 years old. I'm on track. I've been working with a financial planner, a real one. One I chose myself, and we have a clear plan from here to retirement. I sold the house, didn't want to stay in it. I bought a smaller place about 12 minutes away, close enough for the kids, quiet enough for me. I renovated the kitchen over 3 weekends in the fall, and I enjoyed every hour of it. I see my kids according to the agreement. I make them dinner on Tuesdays and Thursdays. I still coach my son's soccer team. My daughter just turned 11 and asked if I could teach her to change a tire, which I did, and that was a good afternoon. A few people in my life have asked me if I'm angry, and I've thought about how to answer that honestly. The answer is, not anymore. What I felt in those early weeks, that cold, specific fury, it burned off. What I have now is clarity. I know exactly what I built. I know exactly what was taken. I know exactly what I got back. And I know now that I had been asleep at the wheel of something that mattered, and I will never do that again. Not out of paranoia, just out of the understanding that paying attention to what is yours is not a hostile act. It's just responsibility. People sometimes say, "I'm sorry that happened to you," and I appreciate that, but I don't spend much time there, because what I know now is this. The moment I picked up that phone in the garage and called Kevin and said, "Listen to me before you react," that was the moment I stopped losing. Everything after that was just paperwork.